The Utah woman and children's author who's been dubbed the Moscow Mule Mom for allegedly poisoning her husband in March of 2022 has recently been in court, and it was anything but boring. There was a lot to unpack in there. In my last video, I compared Kouri Richins to the likes of Lori Daybell, and she did not disappoint. But first, thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. More about them later. Kouri was in court on Monday, June 12th for a bail hearing. This particular hearing, though, was quite interesting. It's not your regular bail hearing, it seemed. We heard from an investigator regarding evidence in cell phone data with an incredible memory for dates and details. We heard from a forensic accountant. We heard from Kouri's husband, Eric's sister, giving a heartbreaking victim impact statement, along with some bombshells she dropped. And we, of course, listened to both sides, the prosecution and the defense. Kouri's demeanor was also interesting, and there was one point in particular of an interaction with Kouri and her lawyer that was one for the books. So now, let's get into it. On the evening of March 3rd, 2022, Kouri Richins said she was celebrating with her husband Eric on a closing of a home, as she was a realtor. She said that she made a cocktail for Eric called a Moscow Mule. Eric had the drink while he sat in his bed, according to Kouri. She said she got up shortly after and then stayed with one of her sons in his bedroom as he was having a night terror. She came back to the room, and around 3 a.m. she said that she found her husband unresponsive, but it took Kouri, according to investigators, 15 minutes to call 911, and according to this court hearing, there was a whole lot of walking around and texting in between the time she found him and the time that she called 911. She said that she performed CPR, but according to the responders, that wasn't the truth, and Kouri was arrested a year later, but not before she wrote a children's book first to help her children and others cope with grief, and according to the family, to collect on their precious Eric's death. Not to mention a party that happened not even 24 hours after his death, celebrating the purchase of a mansion, and reports say that Kouri was drinking and celebrating. But that's not all when it comes to money, because Kouri was deep in debt and there was life insurance policies involved. And now from this court hearing, there's a whole lot more devious actions that Kouri seemed to take. Let's dive into what happened in court and some of the disturbing details they revealed. Number one, it was revealed that Kouri had 6 or 7 life insurance policies out on her husband Eric without his knowledge, and it added up to $1.2 million. There were other policies that were also shocking. We'll get to that in a minute, because it gets worse, and Eric's sister said it while in court. Number two, there was that 15-minute gap between the time that Kouri stated she found Eric unresponsive in their bedroom and the time she actually called 911, with digital data backing that she was mobile during those 15 minutes. Number three, she allegedly procured 15 to 30 pills, 2 separate times actually leading up to Eric's death, yet no evidence of drugs were found in the home other than Eric, who had 5 times the amount of fentanyl in his system. The defense is running with the fact that nowhere does it state they were looking for the glass or tested the glass that Eric drank out of. And there was some whispers in court where I heard the defense say, she said that they didn't search the house that night. So I'd love to know more about that. Number 4, she was in some serious debt. There were debt payments of $252,000 in 1 year. Number 5, in court it was revealed that Kouri would get more money while she was still married than divorced, and the judge mentioned it at the end of the hearing.
At the time of Eric's death, defendant knew how the premarital agreement would operate, but was not aware that Eric had changed his estate plan. So at the time of Eric's death, defendant's subjective understanding was that she would get a greater share of the marital estate if Eric died during the marriage, as opposed to what she would receive under the premarital agreement if the parties divorced.
And we see here that perhaps Kouri took the opportunity, while it looks like there's motive, and she did what she could while she could. I mean, life can get pretty crazy and circumstances can change in an instant. Even for me, life changed for me significantly in the last year when I split from my husband just over a year ago. Although there are some differences here, I didn't take the initiative to murder my husband, allegedly. Nor did I put several policies on him. I chose what I would consider the logical step, and murder is not in my vocabulary, but being separated and, breaking down the home, so to speak, comes with some very different circumstances. It's so important to know about financing and budgeting, especially during times of stress. There's a lot to deal with in regular life. Sometimes we feel like putting our head in the sand and not really facing reality, but the truth is, it makes it easier, obviously, when you face it. Nobody plans for these times, but it happens, and if and when it does, know where your money is going instead of wondering where it went. I'm excited today to introduce to you It's a Crime sponsor, Rocket Money, an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. The personal finance manager allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, monitor your credit score, and build your savings all in one place. One of the really cool features you can do with Rocket Money is cancel your unwanted subscriptions. They're able to safely and securely identify recurring charges and bring them together in a handy list where you can also identify those unwanted subscriptions and easily cancel them with just a tap. It now makes it just as easy to cancel them as it was to sign up for them to begin with. I know for me, I'm surprised at how many subscriptions I have and definitely underestimate the amount I was paying for them. Another feature I really like is that you can monitor your credit score, which affects things like the interest rates you pay and your car insurance. By keeping an eye on your credit score, you can catch any errors or unauthorized debts just like I did. I would have never known that someone else's debt was actually attached to my name on my credit score, which affected my score and my rates had I not caught it. You can also set up a smart savings account where you pick your savings goals and frequency and can start saving money right away. Rocket Money actually analyzes your accounts to optimize your savings, and you know how much I love doing videos and bringing you content, but every once in a while, mama needs a little vacation. And this is a fantastic way to help get to your goal easier and faster. Rocket Money is trusted by 3.4 million members and counting. To try it out today and unlock more features with premium, head to rocketmoney.com/it'sacrime or click the link in the video description box below. Let's get to number 6. Kouri deleted text and phone calls made to and from a person named CL, who was said to be the woman who sold her the drugs and also who worked for Kouri cleaning houses. It was said CL felt so bad about Eric's death that she cooperated fully, and the authorities even found a copy of Eric's obituary in her home. An investigator on the stand stated that he would expect to see the data on the phone as he was comparing it to her records, but they were gone, deleted. Number 7, in court, Kouri laughed when a text exchange between Kouri and her best friend was mentioned in court, and the context of the text was about CPR given to Eric. Kouri had texted her friend. I'm going to play the clip twice, you'll see what was said, then I'll play it again and watch her demeanor, and I'm going to even play it in slow mode.
Investigators found text messages between the defendant and her best friend that was her explanation to her friend that she conducted CPR on Eric prior to EMS arrival.
And do those text messages read, "I pumped so damn hard, so hard, screaming at him to come back to life"?
Yes.
And do those text messages read, "I pumped so damn hard, so hard, screaming at him to come back to life"?
Yes.
You can see that she was laughing and smirking, and this is so not funny. Let me know your thoughts below. Number 8, she wrote a book about her boys and had their real names in there, but it's the subsequent planning of her book title that makes things 1,000 times worse. She wanted the book to be about losing a sibling. And that leads to number 9. She had multiple life insurance policies on her 3 boys. And in my last video, I talked about that, and I was really concerned. And I had asked the question that I wonder if the boys were next. And then we learned that she had multiple life insurance policies on her 3 boys. And of course, this title that she wanted for future books. Now, number 10, Kouri's lawyer actually cued Kouri to cry. While they were talking in court, Kouri's lawyer grabs a tissue, passes it to Kouri. Kouri takes the cue and starts dabbing her face. I mean, if that wasn't contrived, Have a look.
Did they catch a glimpse of their father taking his last breath? It's torture to think of. Why did Eric lose his life? Why did the boys lose their father? Was it because of Kouri's greed and desire to get life insurance and other assets? If so, that is abhorrent.
It's right on cue. Now, number 11, according to Eric's sister, Kouri wouldn't allow Eric's own family to attend a memorial golf tournament that Kouri put on for Eric, but that would be his 40th birthday as well, and she said, nope, you guys aren't invited. Number 12, she pitted her kids against Eric's family, telling them that they aren't loved by them. Number 13, she set up a bank account for others to send her money after Eric's death. Number 14, her searches reveal consciousness of guilt. Like one of them says, if someone is poisoned, what does it go down on the death certificate as? Now note, think of that, an innocent woman, in my opinion, would be searching if someone overdosed, what would it be down as, not if someone was poisoned. She has other searches as well, but perhaps I'll do that in a separate video. This is very interesting. This woman, she is a lot like Lori Daybell in my opinion. Number 15, 2 weeks after Eric's death, she took down all pictures except for one and removed all of his clothes. And 16, I'm going to call this a bonus, but in the 48 hours after Eric's death, Eric's sister Amy stated a full list that Kouri did, other than, wanting to help out with Eric's funeral. Amy said, in fact, she pulled herself together enough to go close on the purchase of a $2 million home, hire a real estate agent, hire an architect to create CAD drawings of the home, hire a lawyer in order to file a lawsuit on Eric's trust, hire a locksmith to come break into and clean out my brother's safe, and attempt to have Eric cremated. She mustered up the strength and resolve to do most of this within 48 hours of his death. What was interesting, though, it wasn't mentioned that, the party, there was supposedly a party that Kouri had, not even 24 hours after Eric's death, at the home that she closed on. It wasn't mentioned in court, but it was plastered everywhere in the media. Interesting, it wasn't mentioned. Kouri also assaulted Eric's sister, and it took 4 people to get Kouri off of her. Number 17, she used her sons as weapons against Eric's family and said if they give her money, she'd allow the kids to see them. Number 18, the defense lawyer used past tense terminology on the kids in court and said she loved Eric and she loved the kids. That's important.
With regard to the sufficiency of the evidence, we're here because of a really tragic circumstance, and I don't think any of us want to forget that. Especially my client. She loved her kids, she loved her husband, but she's also charged now with his murder. And so I just don't necessarily want that to get lost on the court, that we understand the gravity of the situation.
Let me know what you think below. Number 19, Eric's sister begged the court not to allow Kouri on bail and was concerned for not only the safety for her and the family, but also for her nephews, especially for her nephews. And number 20, the defense believes that authorities walked CL down the line, they said, and that's the drug dealer, and they said there's nothing to show that Kouri did anything to Eric. It could have been an accident. And they said life insurance policies weren't going to solve the problems that Kouri had for money. And the lawyer said just because she's bad at math doesn't make her a murderer. Now, one last thing, the judge laughed about the members of the family. It was really weird. He was reading out at the end about all these things lining up for Kouri and having, probable cause and all this stuff, and saying that's going to continue to trial. But one of the things he said was he actually joked and said, going after a member of the family, and it was almost like, what? Why are you laughing? I don't know if he just thought in his head it was so ridiculous, and that's why he laughed, but have a look.
Conviction for aggravated murder creates a powerful incentive for a defendant to resort to desperate acts that might include harming themselves, harming the members of their family, or harming witnesses in the case.
So all in all, this is a crazy case, but what takes it a step further is how, this woman actually Googled, luxury prisons in the United States, something to the effect of that. Like I said, I'll do another video on it, but it's just so extreme. She gets all these life insurance policies. Her husband doesn't know what's going on. She's writing this book to make money off of this book. She has her children's actual names in the book. And I just recently read, I think it was this morning, that she's going to actually get sued for doing this book by Eric's estate, and that she, included his likeness and whatever without authorization, all kinds of things. So there's things going on even more with her, but it is crazy. And she just sat in court and she's shaking her head, and she's, quite upset at times. There's times where she's tapping her foot. She didn't like what was being said. She did a couple eye rolls, but it was the laugh that made it maniacal, in my opinion. And I really, really am worried or concerned that the children would have been next. And then when I heard the sister-in-law say that there was multiple policies on the children, as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's what I thought. When I heard about the book and these, subsequent book ideas and titles she wanted to do after, and then the kids had it, it's very concerning. The judge actually denied her bail, and which is great, because who knows what she would do now if she's just getting that more desperate. Let me know your thoughts below. To see more videos on the case, check it out right here, or check it out in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.